Professor at Albany Law School. He is also the author of the blog NewYorkCourtWatcher.com. Thanks for your time, Vin.
Great to be here.
So you enjoyed that, right? You have popcorn, you watch it like it's some kind of...
I'm having a great time.
Great.
Are you kidding?
Good. Yeah. So what is your initial reaction?
My initial reaction is she's darn good. She's not only human, she's humorous, she's warm, and she's smart, and she doesn't BS about the judicial role. You get a sense from her of what justices really do. You know, instead of this nonsense, they're just umpires or they just robotically apply the facts to the law. You know, none of that stuff. You got basically, you know, a judicial breakdown. You know, this is how we decide cases.
Did you get insight into these during these hearings about how she might play with the others on the bench in that judicial sandbox that is the U.S. Supreme Court?
I think she's going to be good. I think she's got that kind of personality that she actually might be able, you know, to go from chambers to chambers and actually start saying, well, you know, what about this? What about that?
Oh, but they don't do that very much, actually. They don't actually go from chase. Some of them don't speak to each other at all.
No, they don't. They don't. But, you know, some of the justices in the past did that quite successfully. Justice William Brennan used to do that all the time, which is why, as we've discussed before, even though he was on a very conservative court, he oftentimes got the court to render very liberal rulings. He didn't mind talking to the other justices.
Well, if she can actually do that, then she could actually wield a considerable amount of power if she manages to get that kind of relationship with some of the other justices.
Oh, I think she will. In fact, I know we've heard from some individuals that maybe she's not going to be as liberal as Stevens, so maybe the court will move a little bit to the right. I don't think that at all. I think whether or not she's as liberal as Justice Stevens, I think she's the kind, because of her personality, that she actually may be more persuasive and influential than Stevens was.
What struck you here? She actually moved away there from something that I found interesting. She sort of distanced herself from a paper that she had written. Did you catch this?
Well, of course. I mean, you mean the one
where she said... 15 years old, so maybe she's evolved since then. But she said it's the one in which she said that the nominees yes. should be more forthcoming. Now she thinks maybe they should be more forthcoming.
Well, of course she does. None of the nominees really have been very forthcoming except for Robert Bork, and we know what happened to him, right?
Yeah, nothing good.
That's right. So she's not going to tell them exactly how she feels on any particular issue, but you really had to be brain dead not to see where she would be on many of the major issues.
Okay, well, give us as an example.
Okay, abortion, right to abortion. You know she's going to be very strongly in the camp of the right to choose. The same thing with regard to gay and lesbian rights. You know she's probably not too crazy about corporate spending and financial matters. She's probably not too crazy about the gun rights decision that was just handed down. She's going to be a fairly typical liberal.
And what was it? Was there anything in particular that she said that struck you? Something that you had like an aha moment that maybe she strayed too far across the line in being too forthcoming? Maybe she should have said a little bit more?
Well, I thought a few things were particularly revealing. She didn't mind saying that she didn't go along with the original intent.
Right.
She didn't mind saying that...
She's called it a living document, the Constitution.
That's right. And that, of course, is the devil's word,
oh, yeah.
You know, to the conservatives that, my God, the Constitution actually changes with time. Oh, no, Jimmy Madison was like Moses going up to the mountain, talking to the bush, and he got the tablets. No, the Constitution sets forth certain principles. And
well, constructionists disagree with you, Vin. I mean,
well, they can disagree all they want, but you know what happens? Every time the judicial activists get a hold of the Constitution and do something like Brown versus Board of Education, when you talk to the conservatives 20 years later, they go, well, of course, that one was right. That didn't change the Constitution. Or, you know, equality for women. Oh, well, of course,